Welcome in. It is the Lee Company Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty with the Dr. Kevin Dyson with you. Titans win 28-20 in the season finale. And the beautiful part about that, maybe more so than the win, is that the Jacksonville Jaguars have been knocked out of the playoffs.
Yes.
Season over. Head to the beach, boys.
There you go. As a player, I would love to be. We love being on either end of those scenarios at this point in the season. If you haven't already clinched a playoff spot or you're already out, you would love nothing more than to dismiss one of your rivals. And as the Jacksonville Jaguars on that side of as a player, that's what I want. I want to control my destiny. I want to say if we win, we're in there. We already see what happened yesterday and all those things. And you can't blame nobody else but yourselves. We had a chance. We win this game. We're in the playoffs, man. So, but hats off to the Tennessee Titans, man, showing up and showing out today.
What's incredible, before I get into that, let me go ahead and tell you, if you want to weigh in, maybe you're coming back from Nissan Stadium, maybe you're sitting in traffic, maybe you're at home, maybe you are sipping on some libations somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, this is the last opportunity for you to weigh in. Lee Company Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson with you until 6:30. 1045 the zone. 615-737-1045. 615-737-1045. What's interesting, Dice, is the similarities between these two teams last year and this year. Now, the Titans had lost 6 in a row going into this finale game in Jacksonville last year, needing to win to get in the playoffs. They were unable to do so.
Right.
Jacksonville had lost 4 out of 5. They had lost 4 in a row with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. And then they come to Nashville and need to win to get in, to win the division and get in the playoffs, and they can't do it. Titans, how surprised were you that they showed up today, gave it everything they had, and came away with that victory?
I tell you, the most surprising part was the way the offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage.
Yes. How about that?
I mean, there's one play in particular, the big run. And I just had to be looking. I said, let's see if they get to the second level. And they were pushing the pile, get to the second level, giving Derrick Henry a lane, and making guys have to make arm tackles, which we've seen over his extent of his career. That's a losing situation for defenses. And they were getting to the second level. They protected the quarterback for the most part. One of those sacks I put on Tannehill, he held the ball a little bit long, and I think Radens ends up being the one that gets
that one was 100% on Tannehill.
Tannehill.
Yep.
So they only gave up 1 sack, 200 yards rushing. Like, it's just one of those games, man, where has this been? But kudos to the offensive line, man. They've taken a lot of heat. They've taken a lot of criticism throughout the last several weeks, throughout the whole year. And today, man, they played one of their best games collectively as a unit for 23-24 season.
We've got a lot to get to. Number one is Derrick Henry back. He certainly treated it as his last game in a Titans uniform. And, man, he did well, just completely dominating. They said at one point, Kevin Harlan said at one point that Derrick Henry's yards before contact today was the most ever in a game for his career. How about that? When you talk about this offensive line compared to some of the offensive lines that he has run behind previously, and this performance just kind of coming out of nowhere. Unless you listen to 3HL, where I told you the King's going out. King's going out in style. The offensive line's going to play well. Don Davenport kept saying, "You know who's blocking in front of him, right?" I'm like, listen, he averaged 63.5 yards per game this season. He's going over that number, and he went way over it. He went over that number on one run.
On one run, 69, man. I hope people put that DraftKings in their booklet.
19 for 153 and a touchdown with a 69-yard run.
Hey, if you're going to go out from a city, a franchise, man, that's a hell of a way to do it. That's a hell of a way to do it.
615-737-1045. We start with Eric in Nashville. Eric, what's up?
Hey, guys, first of all, I just want to say this. If they said on the radio and I said it too, I'm so happy. I was so sick and tired of people saying, well, we need to lose, get draft picks. Forget that, man. This is the reason why winning a game like today makes me so happy, guys. I mean, I'm talking about the fact that we just returned the favor from last year. We knocked them out of the playoffs after they knocked us out of the playoffs, guys. I tell you what, defensively, and I mentioned that first, they stepped up today. The fact that stopping Trevor Lawrence on that 4th and 2 play or 1 or whatever it was after the Ryan Tannehill pick, which I was real nervous about after that. And then also late in the game, defense stepped up, made plays. They got the pop on the guy where the ball's tipped up there. We got the interception. Also the fact Derrick Henry, which I had a feeling he was going to big today, vintage Derrick Henry. And what about DeAndre Hopkins? He got 7 receptions. He only had 46 yards, but he made 2 of the 3 interceptions that he made and the 1 touchdown. But 2 one-handed catches. Fabulous. I mean, it just had the crowd doing it on. And, guys, I tell you what, guys, I don't know what happens to the team next year, but I'm so happy. And also one last thing. God, I felt bad for the official getting booed, but definitely Derrick Henry's face mask got grabbed. I mean, and as Coach Mack said, that was refereeing malpractice. Yeah. And just everybody saw that. That was just insane to see that. But anyway, we got the win. I'm so happy. Go Titans, guys. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again next year.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. I mean,
yes,
obviously
that was a blown call.
It was a blown call.
And it's funny because they showed a replay from behind, and there was an official right there with the same view as the camera shot. Have no idea how he didn't say it.
What was he looking at? He was looking at one of the linemen because
he was looking right at it. I mean, at least his head was pointed that way.
And he yanked his head back. But, man, that was a great call by Eric. I think some of the things he says right on point, man. We always look into the negative and losses and this season, but for them to come out the last game of the year and put out that kind of effort, man. I mean, defense came up with interceptions. They didn't get any sacks today, but it was kudos to them. The defense showed up when they needed to. That complimentary football that seems to be the trending name that we're using this year, it showed up, man. And this is what people have been. If it had a season like this and you lost this 7 games, they lost by 1 score. Now I think people would have been
7 by 1.
Yeah, 7 by 1 score. And I think people would have been more apt to accept this season and how it played out compared to the way it seemed. If they would have lost this game, I think they would have been, well, that's just more of what we had before. But they played so well for a vast majority of this game. And maybe it's because of the running game and how Derrick Henry was involved in the game that it made it seem like they were involved in the game. But just the way the offensive line seemed to have their way with Jacksonville's defensive line in front, it was major difference, noticeable difference for this offensive team and this team in general.
He mentioned DeAndre Hopkins. What a pleasure it's been to watch him this season, future Hall of Famer. 7 for 46 and a touchdown. He had 3 numbers that he was chasing at $250,000 a pop. He needed 75 receptions to get one of his markers, $250,000. He came in with 68. He had 7 receptions.
So he got to that one.
He got to 75. He needed he needed 39 receiving yards to get to 1,050 to get him to 250 on that number. He had 46 yards. That got him to 1,057, so he got over 1,050. So that's another 250,000. He needed 2 touchdown receptions to get to 80. He had 1.
Ugh.
Fell short. So an extra 500 G's for the big man D-Hop.
Hey,
were you aware of contract
absolutely.
Markers?
You don't even have to ask that question. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I didn't even finish the question.
You don't have to ask especially now. I'll say this: when you're out of the playoffs in your games like this, you want to win. Please don't misinterpret that. Yes. You want to win the game, but when you're trying to collect as much as you can, and if you're out the playoffs, and I'm at a game where I need 6-7 catches and 30 yards or 40 yards, whatever it may be. Man, let me get that and let's get the win too. That's just extra money that I wasn't counting on.
I mean, there are famous examples where people go after numbers, and one was it Odell Beckham Jr. with Tom Brady in Tampa? And then I told this story the other day. We were talking to Senderick Marks one time, it was AB. Sorry, Smiler just said that in my headphones. AB. I told this story the other day. Remember Derrick Marks who used to play here? And then he went to Jacksonville. And the Titans ended their season playing in Jacksonville. He needed 1 sack to get $1 million bonus.
Oh,
so he goes through the whole game, doesn't have the sack. On the Titans' last snap of the game, they drop back to throw. He gets the sack on the last snap. And he gets up and he does his fingers like money, pay me.
Yes, sir.
And so Mickey and I had interviewed him that week before the game, and he's like, hell yeah, I know what I need. I need 1 sack to get $1 million. I know.
Come on, man.
And then he got it.
Yeah, so they showed somebody earlier today that needed, I don't know, it was a reception or a touchdown catch or something, and sure enough, he made make it rain sign. I mean, guys know, especially if you're out of the playoffs, man. It is what it is, because, part of your contract, and especially if you're at the end of your contract or you got 1 year left or 2 years left, you're trying to get as much as you can out of it, try to squeeze every little cent you can out of it. And part of that is performance bonuses. And, kudos and happy for D-Hop for getting that in a season of disappointment. There's a bright side there for him.
I'm just glad they got to have a happy locker room, I mean, if nothing else, I understand that it's win number 6. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. But you knock your rival out.
Yes.
You end their season.
Can you imagine the feeling in contrast to last year? Situations being reversed, as you mentioned.
Completely reversed.
And you're at home.
And the same thing happened.
You get to go in your offseason. That you feel great about how it ended up. Everybody wants to end their season, get into the playoffs with opportunity to get into the tournament, have opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. But you also like to end on a good note, win the football game, positive, because there's going to be a lot of changes. A guy that used to be to your locker on the right or left may not be there when you come back in March. All the different things, man. So, you want to be able to celebrate going out like that.
All right, all lines are loaded. We will take your reaction. Titans win 28-20. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson with you until 6:30. We're going to take a quick pause for a legal ID. This is 104.5 The Zone. It is Lee Company. Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson. The Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. Philadelphia trailing the New York Giants 3-0. Philly started 10-1. They have now lost 4 out of 5. A.J. Brown, I'm told, Smiley, went down with an apparent knee injury. Green Bay and Chicago Packers have covered 9 times in a row against the Chicago Bears. They trail 3-0 at home against Chicago. Packers win, they're in.
Dang.
But they are trailing 3-0. Lots of playoff implications. The 7 AFC teams are done. It's just the matchups. We do know that Houston will host Cleveland. We know the Ravens will have a bye. And then tonight is for number 2 in the AFC and for the AFC East, Miami and Buffalo playing in Miami. So that's coming up tonight. And then based on whatever happens there, kind of dictates where Pittsburgh goes and all of those things. But the Titans end their season with a 28-20 win over Jacksonville, who also ends their season with a 28-20 loss in Nashville.
Look at Pittsburgh backing in there.
I know.
Conversations of Tomlin might not making it through this season, getting in the playoffs again.
That's an amazing job by Tomlin, given the quarterback situation that they've had to deal with all year.
And the fact that his name is even rumored to be let go, and he's what, 12 or 13 seasons in a row of winning seasons, or something crazy stat.
He hasn't had a losing season.
Yeah. And he's rumored to be let go. That's this to show you where we're at with expectations when it comes to wins and losses. This is a guy that's always relevant. His team is always relevant every year.
So certainly possible that was the Kings' last game in a Titans uniform. Definitely possible Ryan Tannehill's last game in a Titan uniform. Was it Mike Vrabel's last game? I don't know. Black Monday, man, that's where all the news comes down, coaching, assistant coaching, Art down in Atlanta. I mean, they were in it against New Orleans and then gave up 24 points in a row or something and lost.
And then I saw they got into it with the coach from New Orleans there at the end.
F-bombs.
It's that might have been kind of the residual of a long season and then getting your butt whooped.
Yeah, my guess is he knew. But what a performance by Derrick Henry today. And it's great to see. Like, if that was the last time that we are blessed to be able to watch that guy run in a Titans uniform, what a way to go out. 19 carries, 153 on the ground, 1 touchdown, a 69-yarder.
How many franchise records does he hold now?
All of them, except for yardage.
Basically, Earl Campbell still has that one?
Yeah, no. So I think he passed Earl Campbell today.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look. I made these. No, but he passed most 100-yard games in franchise history. You can open your mic, Smiley. You don't have to just say it in my ear.
Yes, right.
But I think he passed him in yardage also. He was about 1,000 and change away from Eddie George.
Okay.
But I think he was 78 away from Earl Campbell. I have to go back in my notes. I know I pulled that for this week, but we'll do that. But want to get your take on what you saw today and your thoughts. Azeez Al-Shire leads the team in tackles. He did again today with 10 tackles. He was all over the field. Had a tackle for a loss. Titans with no sacks today.
No sacks.
And Jacksonville with just 2, and one of them was blatantly on Tannehill.
That was on Tannehill. And that was Shahir. I mean, that's a dude who just made himself some money.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One-year deal.
Josh Allen today for Jacksonville had 1 sack. That gives him, I think, 17 on the season. 615-737-1045. Bruce in the borough. Bruce, what's up?
Hey, y'all. Yeah,
Hey,
Green Bay just scored. So we'll get back to the game now.
Yep.
It's great to take Jacksonville out of the playoffs. It's great, sweet revenge. Now, when y'all talk about Henry and Coach are leaving, what is their contract situation? Can you tell me why we're going to get rid of them?
Derrick Henry is an unrestricted free agent.
Okay. Can we sign into a 1-year contract again or not? Can we franchise him?
When you're unrestricted, you can negotiate with any team in the league. So if anyone is willing to give him a better deal than the Titans, he's gone. And my guess is he gone.
Yep.
Okay, then what about Coach? What's this rumor about he's going to go?
I don't know so Diana Bruce, there are multiple reports out there, and you hear various things about what's going on with regard to Vrabel. I really don't know what's going to happen with him. I would like to see one more year with him and Rand go through an offseason together, get another draft class together, and see what happens. But, you never know in the world of sports. You just don't. I don't know what his contract is. It's not documented necessarily.
No.
This isn't the last year of his deal. I know that.
And the players seem to respond to him, especially
Thank you, Bruce.
today.
Appreciate it.
If the last sample is what you expect, you're as good as your last game, the players responded to him, responded well. I've been kind of holding true to the fact that I think based on the circumstances of a new GM coming in and working, and they've talked about their in-step, their collaborative, they're doing all those things, that I felt like Vrabel was going to get another opportunity with Rand to see what he can do next year. But I also can see the argument of, you can cut ties now and let Rand get his guy in if you're in a transitional period, meaning you're trying to rebuild a roster anyway. So you could make the argument that, hey, go get a new head coach for that new transition and with a new GM. Let him get his guy in.
Weirder things have happened in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, Amy Adams-Strunk fired a coach after he won a playoff game.
Yeah.
And there were some extenuating circumstances there, but who's to say there aren't here?
Right.
I don't know. Like the one thing is that I keep hearing is that Vrabel has hand, meaning Vrabel has control. So if you have control and you're 6-18 in your last 24, it's justifiable if you make a move.
Yeah. He's going to get a pass on last year, though, up until that point, especially what happened with the draft, starting from when the draft and A.J. Brown and all those things. So he's going to get –
like I said, I would like to see them get one more offseason together and see what happens. But
I tend to think that's going to be the trend. But like you said, crazier things have happened. We've seen coaches get let go in the middle season. Yeah, man. I mean, how many spots are open right now based off of people making decisions sooner than later?
Usually so there are 32 teams. Usually, like on an average season, maybe you turn over 4 or 5 jobs. I don't know. Maybe more.
There's going to be about 6 to 8 this year, right? What'd you think? Washington's going to be on there. You still got
Ron Rivera.
Still got Vegas.
Who everyone says is a great coach.
Yep. Still got Vegas, Carolina, Chargers. There's 4 right there. 2 of them in the same conference.
So this might be a heavy year.
You never know about New England. Atlanta, you don't know about yet.
There are weird things coming out of New England now. Like we all thought Belichick was done, but now there's a report out there that they want to wait one more year
and see what happens. Who else in the NFC?
Yeah, Patriots. Let's see. Chargers, you already mentioned. The Commanders are a 4-win team.
You still don't know what they're going to do with
Carolina,
Chicago.
Arizona. Yeah, don't know about Eberflus in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Although they did make a nice little run.
Yeah.
Green Bay did score. They're up 7-3.
Yeah.
That's true. It's going to be interesting. This offseason is going to be, I keep saying this, from a Titan perspective, maybe the most entertaining offseason from a fan perspective because there's going to be a lot going on. Yeah. They have $90+ million in cap room. So not only are they going to bring in players, my guess is they're going to bring in high-profile player or two.
That's going to be real interesting where they see the value in that money because you still got to spend on the lower end too. You got to get the bargains. You got to get the guys 2-3 year guys deals on the bargains that can elevate your roster. But you got to be able to spend, be willing to spend too.
And you do have the money to potentially bring some of your own unrestricted free agents back. Yeah. Like what happens with Danico Autry? Like I know he's up there in age, but he just had a career year in sacks.
He did. Especially with Big Jeff being out for the last quarter of that season.
Yep, and he's been great for the Titans. 615-737-1045. Billy in McMinnville. Billy, what's up?
Man, I was at the game last year when Jacksonville sent us home. They were chanting, Duval, Duval. Not this year. We return the favor. Jacksonville, y'all are going home. 4th and 1, goal line stand.
Yep.
Let's go, tighten up. Derrick Henry, 150 yards. I'm feeling great. It was a bad season, but, hey, it was a great way to end the season. As in the words of Coach Mack, hell yes.
I love it, Billy. Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate the phone call. 615-737-1045.
So what's the draft order right now?
I have to look. I don't know.
Titans are 6 still? Or are they?
My guess is that they'll be 7, 8, 9 somewhere in there. I haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the game literally ends. We drive in here and then we're on the air. So I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Maybe Smiley can get that done for us, or maybe one of the great listeners for us will do that. 615-737-1045. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. When we come back, let's take one more phone call, Smiley. Sorry. Let's go to Blake in Portland. Blake, what's up?
Hey, man. Hey, what I was trying to say with the whole spoiler thing is, we've been for the past few years of having to deal with, we got spoiled, but this year, finally, we got to spoil them. And then also, being a season ticket member it was nice to finally see for the final time sitting in Lot A. Our new stadium's going to get built, but we got to have a good time for our final time. There's plenty of Titans fans around, which I did not think that was going to be there.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. In terms of crowd, I thought, like, watching the TV copy, I was not in the building. Hearing the fans chant Henry throughout the game was awesome. We talked about that during the week, how cool that was going to be, because you knew that was going to happen in some way, shape, or form.
It was evident people were anticipating this might be the last time we see him in a two-tone blue.
Yeah. I mean, I think Tannehill's for sure gone. I think Derrick Henry is most likely gone, and Vrabel may be gone. Who knows? 615-737-1045 is the number. When we come back, the King addressed the crowd after the game. He went on the PA system in Nissan Stadium. We've got that for you next. Stay tuned. 3HL is on tomorrow. Not right now. This is Titans Talkback on 104.5 The Zone. Lee Company Titans Talkback. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson with you until 6:30. Your reaction, Titans win 28-20, knocking the Jacksonville Jaguars out of the playoffs and sending them home for the offseason. The Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. King goes out in style. What a performance.
That's the way to go out.
I'm telling you, right? He addressed the crowd, grabbed a PA microphone and addressed the crowd at Nissan Stadium following the game. I haven't heard this. Have you heard this? This is what he said.
Titan fans, I just want to say thank you for the greatest 8 years of my life, the ups and the downs. Y'all been there for everything, through the adversity, watching me grow as a person and a player, always supporting me. I love y'all. I love seeing the 22s in the stadium. Hopefully I was an inspiration to all the young kids and everybody in the community. Just thank y'all so much. Man, God is good. And tighten up, baby.
Nothing left to be said. Ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 153 yards, and a touchdown today, a season-long run of 69 yards. He's now second all-time in Titans rushing history, behind only Eddie George, who, by the way, had double knee replacement surgery this week.
The day after Christmas. Yeah.
That's tough.
I talked to him about it because I know I'm a candidate for one at some point or another, man.
I would think do one and then do the other, but he just said knock it out. Let's
get
go.
It done. Because I think his reason is you do one, you rehab that for 4 or 6 weeks, then you start that whole thing right back over. So I just might as well do it all at one time.
I guess.
Again, the dark part of ball that we don't necessarily see at all points. You know, that's the other.
So you
side
might have to get that done.
Oh, I definitely will. My knee is so
on
bad.
your ACL knee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be. I tried to get it done a few years ago. I was 41, 42. He was like, I'm too young. They wouldn't do it. I was like, man, I feel like the younger you do it, you know, because at that time, I don't know. They say they last about 10 years. He just felt like I was too young to get there. Yeah, I think the technology probably has gotten better since then. So I think it lasts longer than that.
Does it bother you now? Like, are you in pain like every day?
No, I have my days, but right now it feels good.
Like when it rains, are you in pain?
When it gets cold out,
yeah,
you can feel it. If I do too much that I shouldn't be doing, like why am I squatting still? Pride, you know, I do stuff like that.
That's pride. I'm with you
all the time.
Marcellus Wallace taught us about that.
You still think you can do it. Still think you can do some of the things you did, and your mind tells you can, but your body, you know, not to reference R. Kelly, but but your body, yeah. But you know, as it goes like that.
That was unexpected. I didn't see that in the script for today's show. Smiley, how'd you let that go? 615-737-1045. That's really funny. Bill in Goodlettsville. Bill, what's up?
Hey, guys, how y'all doing, man?
Great.
I just want to say I've listened to your show for years. It's the first time calling. I have never missed a home Titans game. Season ticket holder since day one. And this was the hard game at the end of this game. Bittersweet to listen. I got Henry's thing on video. And it was hard to listen to, guys, you know, and I grew up around NFL being from Pittsburgh, and I love the game, and I don't get attached to players, but this is one guy I got attached to, you know, and still keep my fingers crossed he might be back. Maybe, who knows, you know.
Hey, until it's done, it's not done, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're right. And why not, hey, if you get him at a decent rate and have him back up Spears, hey, you know, what can you do?
Dice, you can speak to this. I don't think ego would allow anybody to leave the legacy that he has here on coming back to be a backup for like next to no money.
Yeah.
Like
I don't
just can't see that.
There's no way.
I can agree with that.
And he can't do that. Diminish his role, diminish the position even more, the value of it. I mean, Dalvin Cook is my example.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Sorry, yeah. Dalvin Cook is the example I'm using now to a guy who was let go, didn't have a whole lot of options, goes to an organization, doesn't have much success, is let go or traded or whatever happened to him again, and now have an opportunity to play. But that is the reality of running backs in this league at this point. Derrick Henry is a throwback in a lot of senses of the word, but where he gets opportunity, somebody's going to give him opportunity, especially You look at he still has little wheels in him. He can still run. The size, it's just a matter of the offense being comparable to his skill set. The game is a little bit different than what he's a throwback, man. You go back to put him in that mid to late 90s, early 2000s, man, the team would be signing extensions with him. You know what I mean? Up until he couldn't do it anymore. But the game has just changed, and we talked about off air. Everybody just wants to do it by committee. They got 3-4 guys that are touching the ball 100 to 125 times a piece, as opposed to one guy getting 300, 400 touches. That's just kind of where they're going with the league right now.
615-737-1045. Jack over there in East Nasty. Jack, what's up?
I just wanted to say, if you think they got upset letting A.J. Brown go and then playing that team and having them half kill him, wait till they let Derek go and they play him and he puts 4 touchdowns on them. Then we'll see how mad they get upstairs.
Thank you, Jack. I mean, if you've been here long enough, you've seen lots of star players here go. The Miracle Man, who is sitting right across the table from me, left.
I was just about to ask you, is this Derrick Henry's departure? It's, to me, I remember when Eddie left and he went to Dallas.
I think they're very similar.
It just didn't seem right.
Didn't seem right.
And
what happened when he went to Dallas? He didn't have much left, man.
It was just it was a different game or offense than what he was accustomed to. And then you look at that, and so I was thinking about that today. You look at, there was a 3-year stretch where Eddie was gone. Samari, Mace, McNair. So I'm just thinking of some of the more significant guys on that roster.
Blaine,
Javon was also
everybody.
In there.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
This is what happens in the NFL.
And it was
Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana. You want to go through the best in the history of the game. It just happens.
It's free agency. It's that balancing of the league right now.
Once you hit unrestricted free agency, someone's willing to pay you more and offer you more in your head than your current team. That's how it works.
Yep.
Now, the question with Derrick Henry is, and talking to football people, they tell me that they don't believe that anyone is going to orchestrate or manipulate their offense to feed Henry and to make him that featured back. That there are options for him to be plugged in and played, but the Titans run everything through him.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to think. What offense right now would best suit his skill set? Cleveland.
People mention Cleveland. People mention Baltimore.
They're more power-oriented type teams.
But you're still talking about like a reduced role.
Yeah.
And you're not changing what you do for him.
Yeah. And that's just the nature of the position anyway. Because think about this. I think we're right. Saquon, as we're watching him right now, just scored a touchdown.
Same thing.
Same thing. Not that he's going to be available next year. This offseason.
Josh Jacobs?
Be available. Actually, he just signed an extension, though, didn't he?
Oh, he did?
He
Okay,
just signed an extension.
That's right.
But Saquon, who I think he's a multifaceted running back out of the backfield as a pass catcher and as a runner. I feel like, but again, Dalvin Cook, another multifaceted running back who can catch the ball out of the backfield and can hit the home run. I think he shows you, at least Dalvin Cook, because he was in it this past year, just how devalued the position has become when now teams seemingly are going to 2-3 guy rotation to get the same production as one guy used to in the National Football League.
And don't mistake our words. Both of us would love to see the King back.
Yeah. It's business.
But when you talk about the business of the NFL, that's where this is where I thought he would not. This was his last year. And I've been saying it since last offseason. When you hear Rand and Mike Vrabel talk about how they want players on the field that can do more than one thing, that don't dictate what's coming based on who's in the game, I thought immediately the one guy they're talking about is Derrick Henry.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, based on what they say they want this offense to be and this team to be, like, he doesn't fit.
That's not his forte. Yeah. And Tajay,
from playing the game. Tell me, when you bring Tajay Spears, and I'm not saying, and you're not either, that he's a 20 carry a game guy. He's not. But when he's in the game, you have no idea what's coming.
He had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown today. Case in point.
Did you see the stat? The last time a Titans-Oilers running back had 50 or more catches in a season, because he went over 50 today. The last time a Titans-Oilers running back had 50 or more catches in a season was 1964. That dude's a rookie.
He's a rookie. But that shows you the trend of the league.
Yep.
A lot of backs are, like, again, multifaceted, getting 30, 40, 50, even 60 catches. And then, now, LaDainian Tomlinson is different. Marshall Faulk is different. They're different. They're Hall of Famers. They toted the rock 25, 30 times a game, plus had 19
And
catches.
I'm not comparing him, and neither are you, but that's the example.
That's the example.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's not, them two are different. Them two are the best football players I've ever seen.
Plus, he's a rookie, so it's not fair to put that on him. But he gave them something this year.
Yeah.
Like, they talked about in the offseason after they drafted him how excited they were about him, and they were right.
Yeah. He's talented. But, again, he fits the mold of what the running back position has become in a National Football League.
All right, unrestricted free agents for the Titans. You want this?
Uh-oh.
Here are all of them, okay? Kayvon Wallace, who had a couple of plays today, also gave up a touchdown today. Ross Blacklock, Marlon Davidson, both defensive tackles. Joe Jones, outside linebacker. Corey Levin, center, backup offensive lineman. Trayvon Wesco, the tight end. Travis Gibson, defensive end. Nick Westbrook-Akine, wide receiver, unrestricted free agent. Didn't see – oh, he's out.
He's been out.
Yeah, he's out. That's right. Chris Hubbard – it's hard to keep up with all that. Chris Hubbard, unrestricted free agent. Chris Moore, wide receiver.
That'd be a nice one to re-sign.
I wouldn't mind bringing him back.
I
right?
wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Talking about multifaceted.
He made $1.3 million this year. He is almost 33. Oh, wait, sorry. Chris Moore. Yeah, $1.3 million. He is almost 31. Chris Moore. Okay. Morgan Cox, the long snapper. Christian Fulton, cornerback. Terrell Edmonds, the safety that came over in the deal with Philly, made $2 million this year. Sean Murphy Bunting at quarterback. What a bizarre game he had.
Up and down.
You want to talk about up and down. I mean, 2 penalties, gave up a long touchdown, but also made really good plays.
Had a pick.
with a thumb cast.
Yeah, caught it like a receiver. Man, yeah.
That was a wild game for him. Aaron Brewer, unrestricted free agent. Azeez Al-Shire, your boy.
I like
you
him.
were just talking about.
When they give him some money. Try to keep him around.
Danico Autry, who is 33 years old right now.
Career year, though.
Career year, 12 and a half. I think 12 and a half. 12 or 12 and a half. Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. Guess how much money Ryan Tannehill made this year?
I'm going to say 26?
29.5. He made almost $30 million this year.
He ain't tripping. Y'all let me go. Bye.
I mean, that's kind of how he's been lately, right?
Yeah.
He's been talking in past tense for like weeks.
And he's going to go get another contract and probably be a backup somewhere for a few years.
You know what I'm doing? I'm selling myself as Joe Flacco, except I'm younger.
Yep. I mean, seriously.
Right? Like, Flacco just gave all the old dudes, like, some life and future contracts.
Tannehill played well today.
Yeah, he did.
He played well today.
Outside of the pick where he misread the coverage.
He's got some value to him still. Even you think about some of the teams that have young quarterbacks. Houston, they don't necessarily. I'm just naming them. They don't need backups, but Houston, Carolina, Indianapolis, even Jacksonville to a certain degree. Like, there's a lot of franchises that could use somebody like Tannehill, depending on how their free agents and unrestricted free agent market is too.
My guess is Malik and Tannehill are both gone, and then somebody is the backup to Will Levis, some veteran like a Gardner Minshew or somebody like that.
You think Malik is gone too? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that.
I think that's why he didn't play late in the season.
Yeah,
because I think they already know what he is to them.
And I think Tannehill's going to add value. I'm not saying that he won't be a starter in this league anymore. It's got to be the right situation and circumstances. But yeah, I think he has a lot of value.
So on SpotTrack.com. It's a great website where you can look up all of these things, like salary cap things and all of that. So the calculated market value for Ryan Tannehill in his next contract, 1 year, $4.9 million. So from 29.5 to 1 year, 4.9.
Yeah, he's not tripping off of that. He got his money. Now it's about extending that career and collecting as many checks you can. And
Derrick Henry. 12.5 this year. His next contract value, 1 year, $4.3 million. So that's approaching league minimum for veteran.
Yep.
I don't know. So, I mean, that kind of gives you an idea where those guys are.
Where the guys are.
Yep. Yeah. But the other thing, and we've talked about this, is like Ryan Tannehill, I think you're completely right. I think in Ryan Tannehill's mind, he's going to look for the best scenario where he has a chance to compete in his head for a job.
For a job. And there's several. I mean, I would even throw the Giants in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
With him coming off a knee injury, I'm trying to think who else. Washington. I said that a few weeks ago. Washington wouldn't be a bad spot for him, depending on who the new head coach is, if Rivera's gone, I'm assuming. But that wouldn't be a bad spot for him.
Yep. 615-737-1045 is going to be a fun offseason, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Jack in Bellevue next up on Titans Talkback. Jack, what's up?
Hey, how are y'all? Hope y'all are well. I've been listening to the show since I was a kid. I just want to say, anyone who thinks Vrabel's gone is just beside himself. I think he's proven a great coach under bad rosters. I think he'll be back. And also, Henry, we have a lot of cap space coming up this year. What do y'all know his market value, and also why wouldn't he come back on a cheap 2-year deal? Thank you.
Here's one reason. Yeah, we just went through that. 1 year, $4.3 million is the market value currently from SpotTrack.com. Here's another reason why he doesn't take a hometown discount, take less money to come back to the Titans. He and a bunch of other running backs made a big deal about running back worth this year. So I don't think, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I don't think that he's in a position to take like less money than he could get somewhere else when he's trying to fight for earnings for running backs.
Yeah. That would
Am I way off based on that?
No, I think that diminishes. It's almost like when people go on strike to get more from their employer, right? If you go up there and you have your demands and negotiations there are met, but you go on strike and you say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and take way less than what I demanded. That's kind of what you're asking him to do. They didn't go on strike by any stretch of imagination. What they were saying was the running back position and the value from NFL has been diminished, but we still feel like we have value for this game. So guys are thinking that as they negotiate these contracts. So staying with your franchise for potentially literally millions of dollars less than you potentially get from another franchise, I don't think that bodes well for the position in itself. Now, that remains to be seen. Now, he can get out there and be a free agent, and teams hold fast. They wait till after the draft, and it gets to be June, July, and he still doesn't have a home. Well, money talks. You feel like you still got some years left in you. That $4 million becomes like 20 when you start thinking about not having a job at all. So, we'll see how it all works out.
615-737-1045. Let's get Zeke in here in Nashville. Zeke, what's up?
Turn it down, buddy.
Yo, Zeke, turn your radio down, please. All right, we're putting Zeke on hold. Let's go to Dylan in Antioch. Can you check in with Zeke Smiley? Dylan, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just got home from the game about 20 minutes ago. I was sitting in the south end of the end zone, and man, Derrick Henry, when he got tackled on that 4-yard line, I was so sad. I was really hoping he would bust that run out. It would have been just such a swan song sort of thing to do. But, I'm happy the way the season ended. I kind of wish they would have maybe done some sort of like weird, supernatural thing for Tannehill and Henry, but it didn't turn out that way. But, man, I just really wish Derrick could have broken that last tackle and scored. But it was a good day to just spoil the Jags. So I guess that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that long run. It was funny watching the DB try to angle him up. Yeah. You could tell he didn't want any part of getting too close too early and catching that stiff arm. Because he was about to ride the King into the end zone.
Sure was.
King was going to put him on his head like a crown, baby.
When you running like that, you think of that sound. You don't want to be on. You don't want to be on top plays in the wrong way.
He just kind of eased on it.
Look at this. Look at the Eagles, man. Sorry.
Let the King just run out of gas a little bit more, and then I'll go get him.
Eagles getting blown out by the Giants, man.
Which they just lost to the Giants. Like you think from an Eagle perspective, you're 10-1, and 2 of your last 3 are against the Giants.
You're supposed to.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
they're ready. You want to talk about ready to fire everybody's ass? Go up to Philly. Yeah. I got a good friend from Philly, and they're like, they won.
And they just went to Super Bowl. Yeah, how fast people forget.
No, they don't care. Moving on.
Move on to the next one.
Good and bad. Move on. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. better. All right, more Titans Talkback coming up. We have plenty of room to take your call as we react to the Titans 28-20 win. The beautiful part of that is that the Jags season is over. Also, watching the King, we all think, go out on a great night, day over there at Nissan Stadium. That was awesome to see. Lee Company, all you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. Titans Talkback, Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson with you until 6:30. Sunday Night Football coming up. The battle for the number 2 seed in the AFC, Miami and Buffalo. Buffalo a 3-point favorite in that game, and we'll be in tune. That is for sure. You can catch it right here on 104.5 The Zone. Again, we're walking you up to Sunday Night Football on Westwood 1. We've got plenty of room for you to offer up your opinion, and we'll close out the season the right way. And if you want to offer your tribute to the King, Derrick Henry,
please do.
Please do. He thanked the good people of Nashville on the PA system in Nissan Stadium following the game. He needed 58 yards to catch Earl Campbell for number 2 all-time with regard to rushing yardage for the Titans and Oilers history. He definitely did that. Went for 153 today and a touchdown. That gives him 1167 on the year, 12 touchdowns on the season, 280 carries in year number 8. You know, we were comparing Eddie George and what happened with him as he moved on to Dallas.
Yeah.
Eddie, that was after year 8. That was after year 8. Derrick Henry after year 8. Likely moving on. And it's funny, like, I know if you're new to the city and you've been captivated by Derrick Henry, we all have been captivated by Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
But this has happened. This is pro sports. This is what happens. And
it's business.
And you mentioned it earlier, when Eddie George left and went to the Cowboys, this market was crushed.
It didn't seem right, man.
He was still on the building. Like, his mural was still on the building
it's
forever.
Still there now.
Yeah, there you go. Eddie told me a funny story one time. Have I told you this? He was doing the preseason games with Corey Curtis and Don Davenport News 2 and all that. And he was like running a little bit later than he wanted to be running. And so like he was pulling in and the security guard's like, "Where's your pass?" And he was like looking for his pass. And it's Eddie George.
Yeah.
He's looking for his pass in his bag. And then finally he can't find it. He goes, "That's me." And pointed to like his mural on the stadium.
Yeah. Can I get in?
And the guy just started laughing and let him in.
That's awesome, man.
Oh, man, what a great dude, too. And, I mean, both those guys, they're so similar, like running style and everything.
Everything. And what they meant to this franchise, the production, just good people, man, always giving credit to their teammates, just wanted to win football games, man. They got the publicity for a reason, but they were always team guys first. And that's one thing I always appreciated about Eddie. He was always a team guy first. Of course, he was the face of the franchise, and he thought, obviously, get him the ball could help you win, but whatever it took to get the win is what he wanted, you know?
It would have been great to see him get one more year here and go after the all-time rushing number for this organization. He's only 939 away now from Eddie George. 615-737-1045.
It still might happen.
How good would you feel if you were in that Titans locker room knowing that you just knocked the Jaguars out of their season? That with a win, they would have won the division. Yeah. And they would have gone to the playoffs and hosted a game.
Absolutely.
And here they are. They're done. Hit the beach, fellas.
Oh, yeah. And that you get to go into the offseason on a good note, knowing that, man. Absolutely, they love this, man. Again, like I said before, from a player's perspective, I would love being on both ends of those equations. If I'm on Jacksonville's team, I want to be in that situation where it's on us. We win this game, we're in. You know, I don't have to worry about if Pittsburgh loses or if Buffalo wins or whoever. I'd rather just we win, we're in. But on the flip side of that, to be able to be spoiler to a rival, man, there's nothing better, especially if we're out. Oh, yeah, there's nothing better.
615-737-1045. Let's go to Wayne in Nashville. Wayne, what's up?
How you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
Thank y'all. I just want to say, I just want to go through some stats real quick.
Yeah.
Derrick, I pray he stays here. Obviously, we all do. 2009, Yulee High School, right? He set the whole record. 2,465 yards. We're talking about high school. I'll get to it. 2010, Yulee High School, 2,788 yards. 2011, Yulee High School, 2,610 yards. 2012, senior year, Yulee High School, 4,261 yards. 2015, Alabama, not Alabama family, UT guy, go Vols, but 2,219 yards. Titans, I can't even tell you. 2020, 2,027 yards. I mean, geez Louise, I don't know why we want to trade him. He might have to take a little pay cut, but we love him. We need him. Let's keep him.
Yeah, I just don't. Again, they're not going to trade him. He's an unrestricted free agent. He can go anywhere he wants. Wayne, thank you for the call, man. I understand, and that's where we are with the King, man. It's look. I say this all the time. We kind of romanticize our athletes, our teams, our sports figures, our coaches, or whatever. So I get the love affair and all of those things, but as you said earlier, this is a business.
It's business.
And he's not going to take less money to stay here, is he?
No, and people have asked me that over the last several weeks, and in comparison, they say, won't he take less just to stay here? He's revered and all those things. I said, man, it's business, and it's a not for long business.
You have a narrow window, and you know this. Yes. You have a narrow window to make as much money as you possibly can, because you're not thinking about your life. Yes. You're thinking about a couple of generations.
Yes, and so why would I come here when I can go get $8 million from somebody else, just stay here for 2.5? That math's not mathing. As much as we would like as much as we would like for our heroes to stay put in a business that's not for long, it's a small window of opportunity. You're only a young man for a short period of time, and you got to ride that bike until the wheels come off. And in that meantime, while you're riding that bike,
in between time,
you got to make as much money as you can.
By the way, he is up to number 36 all-time leading rusher in NFL history, and he is the active leader.
Well,
that's something.
Is he Hall of Famer? And I've had this conversation.
I think he needs one more really good year.
And
to me, he is, but
to me, Eddie is. But
to me,
I think running backs are graded similarly to what the receiver was graded in the mid-90s. Now, I think you have to rethink how you grade receiver production, because it's a passing league now. Yeah. So everybody's getting 100 catches. What's the name for Jacksonville tight end had 100 catches this year?
Oh, Evan Ingram, man.
Yeah. He had 100 catches this year. Is he a Hall of Famer? My point in saying that is you got to rethink what that number looks like for Hall of Famers. And I think running back position, it was a certain type of way back in the 90s and 80s where guys were getting in more easily, if you will, compared to of recent. I think people like Jerome Bettis, whose numbers are very comparable to Eddie, but he had the Super Bowl ring. So it remains to be seen.
Super Bowl ring does a lot.
It does.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, to me, Derek, more so than Eddie, you can sell Eddie on a different parameter, series of parameters, basically. With Derek, he kind of transcended the running back position in this era, in that he was kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
But you don't do it in the NFL like he does it now.
No. But Eddie has been to a Super Bowl and showed out in the Super Bowl.
I would make a different case for him. I would sell him differently than I sell Derrick Henry. But for me, Derrick Henry is one of a kind. When Eddie, if Derrick Henry would have played when Eddie played, then you're talking about Corey Dillon and Jamal Lewis and all these big bruising guys. You just don't have that anymore.
Yeah. And the speed.
That are featured, 300 carry a year guys.
250 with the speed. He was, like you said, he was transcending. I mean, he was different for this era of backs. As you've seen, backs are now 6 foot, 225 pounds or less. You know what I mean? They're guys that can do multiple things in offense. But that being said, though, it still is a block and tackle game. You got to be able to block, protect. You got to be able to tackle. And this year's difference, even though we just talked about it, he still had 1,100 yards rushing, still had 12 touchdowns, still making the Pro Bowl. He still had life in him. It just wasn't as exciting as we had once seen it. Other than today, I'm trying to think of the last time he had a big gashing play like that where you got to see him strike out.
He had a 63-yard run earlier in the season.
When was that?
That was early. And that's a run that Greg Cosell, who does a lot of work on 104.5 The Zone, kind of used as an indicator as how he had lost a step.
Because it would have been a home run.
Which is, I guarantee you, what he's going to say about this 69-yarder today.
But again, that's far and few between when we were getting accustomed to seeing 4, 5, 6, 7 of those a season, if not more. And it's kind of the same thing we saw with Chris, right? Because with Chris, you didn't want to leave your seat because you didn't know when he's going to hit that 80-yarder. And
I'll never forget his rookie season, that preseason game against the Rams. I think it was the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually in the booth with Eddie and Corey Curtis and spotting for those guys and watching their cover two. and he just goes flying up the middle of the field. And they had an angle and yardage, and he still split them.
Yeah, he was a different type of speed. But again, he's a smaller guy. Now you look at it because he was kind of at the end of that transitional part of the going from a multi-back system to a primary ball carrier. How well would he be right now? How well would and Edgerrin James was great. How would his game translate into today's game when he was a bigger, smaller back? If that makes sense. I know that's contradictory and kind of oxymoron, but he was a 235, 225-pound back that was multifaceted, but he was the primary ball carrier. So was Marshall Faulk, who was also 225, 230 pounds. How would their game translate?
Was different, man.
It's one of the best football players I've ever seen. And people that haven't got to see him play and what he could do is him and LaDainian Tomlinson. It's unreal.
You played against them, but like that team doesn't win the Super Bowl without. Like you can talk about like the what did they call them? The greatest show on turf.
They're nothing without him.
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
I mean, they're a good team, but they're not
good.
a Super Bowl champion.
They're good receivers, and they do that. But I don't think they are making the run. I don't think Kurt Warner is as good as he is without Marshall Faulk. And maybe I'm just biased on that, but Marshall Faulk was just different, man.
Yeah, you saw him up close. 615-737-1045. We've got more Titans talk back. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson with you. Titans win 28-20. That does it for the season, and we've got another hour and a half. You want to weigh in your reaction, 615-737-1045. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Titans Talkback, Lee Company, Titans Talkback, Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson. All lines are loaded, so when you hear somebody go off, jump on in there. We want to get your take on a variety of things. Ryan Tannehill's last day with the Titans, probably Derrick Henry's last game with the Titans. He addressed the crowd following the game. Smiley, do you still have that up and running and available? Because the King went for 153 yards today on 19 carries, going out on style. This is what he said to the crowd at Nissan Stadium following today's win.
Titan fans, I just want to say thank you for the greatest 8 years of my life, the ups and the downs. Y'all been there for everything, through the adversity, watching me grow as a person and a player, always supporting me. I love y'all. I love seeing the 22s in the stadium. Hopefully I was an inspiration to all the young kids and everybody in the community. Just thank y'all so much. Man, God is good. And tighten up, baby.
Nothing left to be said. Ladies and gentlemen, Derrick Henry, the King.
Loved seeing the King go out on top, man.
Yeah.
We talked about it all week, how great that would be.
I know we're talking about some what ifs and he could potentially come back. I think that is pretty definite. I mean, he doesn't make, make that if you think you might be back.
No, I keep going Christmas story on that one. Like, I'd be more surprised if I woke up with my face sewn to the carpet than Derrick Henry coming back.
I mean, I hate that, but I'm happy that he's able to have the opportunity to address fans in that form or fashion. I know the trend is to put out a tweet or something like, I say tweet X, whatever it's called. That's normally the trend right now, like a letter, but the fact that he's able to have that opportunity, what he has meant to this city and this franchise for the past 8 seasons, man, it's kudos to him and happy for him to actually get that, man, because a lot of players don't get that closure, man. Like Eddie went on, I'm going to use Eddie again, went on to play for a couple years. He came back. He's in the Wall of Fame or whatever, Ring of Honor and things like that.
I think just 1 year with Dallas.
For 1 year. Yeah. He didn't get have that closure. Now, he retired as a Titan, and if he gets in Hall of Fame, will go in as one, obviously. But he didn't get to have that moment, that circle the field, wave to the fans, cameras blazing, verbally thanking fans like that. And that's not a guy's going to get the opportunity. So if it is, which we're saying if because it's still business.
No certainties in this.
But kudos to him, man. I'm happy for him to have that opportunity.
You mentioned Evan Ingram earlier.
Yeah.
I talked about him this week. Like, he is a Titan killer. Yeah. Last year in Nashville, the last time he played in Nashville, 15 for 162 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Today, 10 for 79 and another touchdown. So his last 2 games in Nashville, 25 receptions, 241 yards and 3 touchdowns, Evan Ingram.
I tell you what, he had one big drop today, though.
Yeah, a big drop today.
Big drop. And that's in that retrospect, that may be the difference in this game, too.
Yep. 615-737-1045 if you would like to react. Titans win 28-20. Ending Jacksonville's season. Angie in Nashville. Angie, what's up?
Hey, how are you fellas this
afternoon?
Doing? Hey, I just wanted to briefly talk about college football for a second. Being old, there is an advantage of being old. I've seen a lot of things, and they're talking now saying that college football as we knew it is going away. But at least during my years, that my late spouse and I were both military in Florida, so we were big Bobby Bowden and Florida State fans, and got
love
to see
him.
Charlie Ward back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and that was also the days of Steve Spurrier and Philip Fulmer and all the good college football. And then I got to see that, and then my youngest daughter went to Tallahassee to Florida State when she was a classmate of famous Jameis Winston, so I got to see at the Knowles Stadium, got to see famous Jameis play. And then today I was happy to be at Nissan Stadium for what's probably the last we'll see of King Henry, and, Nissan Stadium will soon go away. But, as we know it, I was just happy to be there and put that on my bucket list check. But I really enjoyed myself. I didn't have anything against Jacksonville, but I'm just glad we won.
Thank you very much, Angie. A lot of people do have a lot against Jacksonville, but, yeah, I get it.
They back to the 90s, 98, 99.
Man, y'all beat them 3 times that year. That was something.
And they put out the little song and everything.
I remember the week leading up to the AFC Championship game, and everybody was talking about, you can't beat a team 3 times in a row. And
it's hard to do.
It's
hard to beat them twice in a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeff Fisher was out there going, "That's our home field. Like that's our second home."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh man!"
And we just had their number. It was just, that was one of the more talented teams that we faced for sure. But me personally,
with the punt return.
For us, I'm talking for Jacksonville with Keenan McCardell.
That
Jimmy
team was
Smith,
so freaking good,
loaded.
dude.
I mean, offensively and defensively, they were loaded. It just that Freddie Taylor, again, I've said this before, one of the most underrated backs of his generation. He doesn't get enough credit for how good he truly was, and that's probably because Jacksonville didn't win anything when he was there, and he was in a running back era. There was Eddie and Jerome and Jamal and LaDainian and Marshall, and he was just kind of Corey Dillon. He was just kind of caught in the mix of a running back era, and so people don't realize how good he is. But if you talk to anybody that played against him,
that is definitely true.
They will tell you,
because I have,
that he's probably one of the better backs of his era. I mean, just think about who he was up against. Even catching the tail end of like Emmitt Smith and Barry Sanders, like he was good, man. He would do well in this era of ball too, because he can catch the ball. He didn't get enough credit for how he caught the football as well.
He just had injury issues. Blaine, I know I've talked with, and he said in terms of talent, Hall of Famer.
Easy. Super talented. He was Adrian James before Adrian James. I mean, like that's kind of talent he had, and Adrian's in the Hall of Fame.
615-737-1045. Terrence in Nashville. Terrence, what's up?
Hey, man. Hey, how you doing? Man, just want to say, man, this is definitely probably one of the most important times in my life, man, just seeing Tannehill and Derrick Henry, dating all the way back to, the AFC championship run, and then the next year having a top four offense in the league, and then the year after that getting that number one seed, man. It's kind of sad to see everything kind of come to an end and stuff like that, but man, it's just a special time, man. And I just hang up and listen.
A lot of great memories. Thank you, Terrence. Appreciate it.
Usually, things come in threes, right? That's why they say usually give a coach 3 years, and then that's where you can kind of see the direction of your organization. There's a 3-year window, and then they start dismantling and moving pieces around. Again, I think we as Nashvillians have gotten somewhat spoiled because we had that run so early on of transitioning from Houston to the Tennessee, from the Oilers to the Titans, and we went straight to Super Bowl that first year, 13-3 the next year. We missed the playoffs the following year, but then we're right back to the AFC Championship game the next year after that. So we had a lot of success early. But then I think about some of these franchises that are older, have been in their cities a lot longer than the Titans have been here, and how much they've had to endure. Think about the Lions, the Browns. I'm since the Titans are out, that's what I'm pulling for. I'm pulling for a Browns-Lions Super Bowl.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, I would love that. Neither one have ever made it, and it's just those fans deserve it. The fans are loyal to the bitter end with these franchises of almost 100 years worth of football. Have not been given, not 100 years, 60-something years of football, have not had an opportunity to get there as far as NFL and the alignment. But I'm looking forward to seeing what these two do in the playoffs. Hopefully they can make a run. I know I'm probably the minority in that. I think most people are looking for maybe like a San Francisco versus KC type Super Bowl, but let's see some new blood in there.
We had, speaking of the Browns, for those that don't remember, they got within John Elway a couple of times of going
Twice.
to the Super Bowl.
Ernest Biner used to be a running backs coach.
Ernest Biner, who we had in studio one day, and still gets emotional about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as fans, like, you get upset when somebody, like, fumbles or whatever. Like, dude, it hangs on to them their entire life.
Still think about it.
And it's not like, and I told him after, I was like, man, we can't have you in here and not ask you about that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, no, respect. I know it's coming.
Yeah.
It's just, it's hard.
It is, man. And he's
because
such
you
a
feel
good
like
dude too.
You feel like you cost like everybody, and you don't. I mean, nothing ever comes down to one play. Nothing. Not in team sports and not in.
But that's a moment.
And I know you've had to deal with what you've had to deal with.
But that's a moment in infamy. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, as a competitor, man, you just want it so bad. And they did all that work to get to that opportunity to win that game, to have the ball in your hand. And that's the dream, right? Like, as a kid, but the basketball, you outside shooting, and the clock goes down 5, 4, and you take the shot. That's the dream, right? To have the ball at the end.
Because you grew up thinking basketball.
Right?
Yeah.
And everybody does it, and that's exactly in that moment. You get the winning touchdown, and for Ernest, man, that's just something he's had to live with for 30 almost 40 years. Dang.
Yeah, that was the 80s.
Oof.
The Oilers ran into John Elway once, too, in the playoffs. John Elway with the ball in his hand and time on the clock, dude. It
was different, man.
But what's funny is, like, as great as those offenses were, how did they get over the hump? Terrell Davis. They needed that run game.
Back. They needed a guy.
You're talking about complimentary football.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, when you get to the playoffs, the teams that are able to run the ball the most effective, because it's cold outside, it's windy, the weather, you're still going to have to run the football. So it's not a breed that's going anywhere. It's just how they use the position has changed.
It is time for the Kroger Sacks for Cash. Today, the Titans had 0 sacks, courtesy of 0 players, unfortunately, but they did get the win. For the season, Kroger's donation to Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee stood at $5,300. And every time the Titans sack the opposing team's quarterback this season, Kroger donates $100 to Second Harvest Food Bank of Middle Tennessee. From Kroger through its Zero Hunger, Zero Waste plan, Kroger's committed to ending hunger. More of your reaction when we come back. Titans win 28-20. Jags season is over. We'll tell you where the Titans will draft if the draft were held right now. We've got that for you next and more of your reaction. This is Lee Company Titans Talkback. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Titans Talk Back, presented by Lee Company. Brent Dougherty, the good doctor, Dr. Dyson, is here. We are with you until 6:30, walking you up to Sunday Night Football. Bills at Dolphins. Bills a 3-point favorite. Over under 48.5.
Take the under. It's in Buffalo, right?
It's in Miami.
Oh, it's in Miami?
If it was in Buffalo, they'd be dealing with some weather.
That's what I said. That's why I would take the under. I always take the under when the weather. I shouldn't say always, but
maybe in a divisional game also where every snap is so important because you get the 2 seed if you win.
As I say, this is relevant football for both.
I love it. Winner wins the AFC East.
And second in hosting, especially for Buffalo, but Miami too, but especially for Buffalo, you got a team coming down to play in that weather. There's a home field advantage to that. So this is super important for both teams right now.
615-737-1045. Titans with a 28-20 win in the last game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, knocking the Jags out of their season. They could have won the division and hosted the Cleveland Browns in a playoff game had they been able to win in Houston as a 5-point favorite.
Man.
I told Dawn on Friday, I said, hey, the bet of the weekend, Titans plus that number, and I got it at 4. And then also money line, meaning to win straight up. Yep. And she was like, tell me how they're going to win. I was like, I don't need to tell you how. I'm just telling you
they're
are.
going to. Yeah.
Babsy.
Well, based on recent memory, the way they had been playing, the difference to me in this game was that offensive line.
Oh, and here was Slay's breakdown. He goes, the previous time I felt like this confident the Titans were going to lose was against Miami. So they'll win.
They'll win. That's about right.
That is about right. So with regard to the draft, okay, so obviously people are paying attention to that. There is a website that I found called tankathon.com, meaning teams losing to get better draft picks. Currently, as it sits, now a couple of these teams are still playing right now, and one of them is winning big. Carolina would have the number 1 pick. That goes to the Chicago Bears through a trade. Number 2, New England. Number 3, currently Washington, although they're playing right now too. They're losing to Dallas. Arizona is playing and winning against Seattle, I think.
Oh, it's tied now.
Tied, okay. They are 4th. But neither one of those teams can catch the Titans, so there's that.
So I think the top 4 is pretty much solidified. There might be a change between 3 and 4, but I think it's pretty solidified.
Unless the Giants lose and they're up big against Philadelphia, and Marcus Mariota's in at quarterback, so there's that. Yeah. And A.J. Brown's out with an injury. Jalen Hurts dislocated a finger. Philly, man, it's tough up there right now. So, yeah, Carolina, which is going to Chicago, number 1. New England, number 2. Washington, currently number 3. Arizona, currently number 4. Although I guess technically both of those teams could get to either and or whatever, could get to 5 wins. The Giants have 5 wins. They're currently pounding the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chargers have 5 wins also. They are currently getting pounded by the San Francisco 49ers. Then the Titans are at 7. It looks like the Titans, if the Giants do beat Philadelphia, they would have a chance to jump the Giants into 6, the 6th draft selection. But the worst they'll draft is 7, I think, if I'm looking at this right.
Right, 7.
Because currently they would have the 7th pick.
It's not a bad spot.
Then you're talking about Fasciano. I mean, the same guys we've been talking about and we'll talk about. Fasciano at Penn State, who is an incredible left tackle, and Joe Alt at Notre Dame, who's an incredible left tackle, according to the people that grade those things.
And of those, okay, Chicago's kind of a wild card. We don't know what they're going to do. They have their quarterback seemingly, but if Caleb Williams is no one rated overall, he's not going number 1 to Chicago.
Unless they trade Justin Fields.
Unless they trade Justin Fields or whatever. So
my guess is they keep Fields because they've got a couple of years left on him.
Yeah.
On a rookie deal, and they go Marvin Harrison Jr. or something whatever like skill player they think is the best wide receiver.
And then we talked about the quarterback at Washington, who I kind of like. I love his accuracy. He's going to be in that mix of that top 10. So where does he fit?
Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, Penix. So where does he fit in that top 10? I would think he's going to be in that conversation for top 10.
So for the Titans, maybe one of those 2 tackles, maybe Brock Bowers, the tight end at Georgia, who I mentioned to you a couple weeks ago.
See, that's why I want to see what they do in this offseason. Where there's $90 million plus. Where's that value?
That'll tell you what's going to happen in the draft. Because it's hard to build the offensive line through free agency.
It is.
It just is.
And you have to, in my opinion, I think you have to get that Taylor Lewan, Brad Hopkins left tackle. that guy that's the cornerstone for 8, 10,
to go
years.
With an 8, 10, 11, 12-year left guard who, by the way, Skoronski played maybe his best game, I think, just eyeball test today.
Yeah.
Was awesome.
He's going to be okay. He had his bumps and bruises this year. He's going to learn a lot in this offseason to get a full offseason training and working out and diet, all those things. He's going to be okay.
Big men dancing. A Raiders defensive lineman made a huge play and danced for like 30 seconds. It was hilarious. Anyway.
But all assumptions aside.
I disrupted you.
No, you're good. All assumptions aside, man, left tackle would be my first guess. But again, if you got a Pro Bowl tackle that gets released and you think you're on a 2-3 year window of opportunity, do you spend the money on that guy who's proven commodity? It's almost like the portal, right? And get a guy that's a proven commodity for the next 2 or 3 years and invest that first pick, which is 6, 7, on another need position, which may be tight end, maybe receiver, might be corner. Right? After today, too, it might be corner. And you said Bunting is what, 1 year? He's also unrestricted, right?
Unrestricted free agent.
So it might be corner. Corner is another high value position.
Couldn't you see them move down to because like they're missing a pick, so like I could see them working down for some draft capital. Yeah.
Does Chicago have 2 first-round picks?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be interesting to see.
They currently would pick first through Carolina's pick and number 11 right now.
Yeah, and of those top 6 picks that you mentioned, how many of those probably have their franchise quarterback?
Well, depending on what Chicago thinks, New England doesn't.
Yep. So
Washington doesn't.
Yep.
Arizona, what do you think there?
They gave him a lot of money not to be. And that go back to the New England thing.
One of the
even
greatest
as
contracts ever.
As a first of all, I don't want to be like, as far as coaching, I don't want to be the guy after the legend. I want to be the guy after that guy.
Follow the guy that followed the guy.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with the quarterback. I didn't want to be that guy to follow Tom Brady. Aside from you going to the Super Bowl every other year, I want to be the next guy.
Yeah.
So they may go quarterback that first pick. Or second pick, I guess it would be.
We'll see. Also, I think it's going to be an interesting draft, too, because, like, what happens with Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver out of LSU that actually had a more productive season than Marvin Harrison Jr.? What happens with Keon Coleman, who's a guy at Florida State that I love?
Yeah.
Just talked with Danny Cannell about him on Friday. That guy was like SportsCenter top 10 every week.
Yeah.
And he's a bigger dude and still fast. It's going to be an interesting draft.
At Washington?
Oh, yeah.
Ducey, how you say his last name?
And Doozy?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's definitely going to be up there, too.
Super talented.
Yeah.
Catches everything.
What do you think about, while we're on it real quick, and then we'll go to the phones, what do you think about tomorrow's game? Washington, a 5-point underdog against Michigan.
Here's the thing. Watching Washington against Utah, Oregon twice, their defense struggled to stop folks. And Utah's offense wasn't a juggernaut this year by any stretch of imagination. They struggled. They got to stop when they needed late in the game and extended their lead to a 2-score game, ended up beating Utah. Oregon, the back and forth. I feel like if they can't stop Michigan, which does a lot of things offensively, putting guys in position to be successful, it's without question, because I feel like Michigan's going to get some stops. The way their defensive line is, how they get after the quarterback, they got some decent enough corners that can hold up. They're going to get a couple stops. So I think Washington's going to have to buckle down a few times to keep this thing close, give itself a chance at the end to win this football game. I loved what they do offensively. Their 3 receivers, the health of the running back is obviously a little bit concerning, but their 3 receivers are as talented as a group as any in the country from a depth perspective, because you just can't concentrate on one guy. The other guy light you up. I think 2 of the 3 had 1,000 yards, and one was close. So Michigan's got their hands full. They're going to have to get after Penix, man, and try to disrupt him. But Washington's offensive line has been real good, and their coach, their offensive coordinator and head coach, who are offensive guys, they do a good job of game planning people as well. But I just think Michigan's defense is a little ahead of Washington's defense, so I kind of give them a nod. But I love what Washington is doing.
I love them. I went with them.
Yeah.
But I've had a love affair with that team all year since the offseason, and I love Michael Penix Jr. What a story, too, man. He's had you can relate to this. He's had 4 seasons that have ended because of injury. And now he's got this one.
Man.
And a lot of people are saying he's been playing through something and that he was finally healthy in that bowl game in the semifinal.
He had a month to rest or 3 weeks to rest.
Yep, and lit Texas up.
Yep. He's so accurate. He was dropping dimes, man.
I like the lefty element to him, too. You just don't see that much
You don't see it a lot. And he was putting it on the money. Now, I don't, he's slender. But
Michigan going to get after it. We know that from the Alabama game.
Hey, they get after you from the edges and interior. It's
quick decision.
It's going to be fun to watch.
It will be interesting to see how they choose to defend him because you can't cover zero him like they were doing Alabama. You can't. He'll kill you.
His offensive line is pretty good. And if you go heavy dose of like zero or man-to-man and you're trying to blitz him, it's going to be rough on you. So that defensive front, who has been good all year long, they did what they did against Alabama. They had 5 sacks in the first half, all those things. If they can duplicate what they did against Arizona, I think they can win this game pretty easily. Because now he can play coverage.
Yep. Titans win against the Jaguars 28-20, knocking the Jags out of the playoffs and ending their season. Ryan Tannehill, 17 of 26, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did have the 1 interception. Derrick Henry going out on in style, 19 carries, 153 yards, and a touchdown.
Still didn't get 20 carries.
Still didn't get 20 carries. He passed Earl Campbell for number 2 all-time in franchise history in rushing, trailing Eddie George now by less than 1,000 yards. Tyjae Spears, 3 carries, 25 yards, and a touchdown. Also 3 receptions, 41 yards, and a touchdown. He goes over 50 receptions, which is the first time in franchise history since 1964. Which is saying something as a rookie. All right, back to the phones. Let's do this. Wyatt in Franklin. Wyatt, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? I was at the game. Really enjoyed watching Derrick Henry go out in style and sending the Jaguars home. But we got to face reality now, and the reality is now it's off season. We're not going to have Titans football till September of 2025. So I wanted to address the offensive line because I know y'all mentioned it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was one of our biggest holes we had in our team this year. Just going to go through some names. You can darn near lock Skoronski in for next season. You can lock Petit Ferreira in as long as he doesn't get injured or suspended for gambling again. Past that, we got Aaron Brewer as a free agent. I wonder what you all think we're going to do with him. There's obviously a gaping hole at right guard as well, and we all know Andre Dillard's not the world's most reliable left tackle either. So curious if y'all could run down the offensive line and what y'all think we're going to do. Obviously, we're going to draft some players and free agency. Lastly, too, Chigo Okonkwo wasn't too high on him to start the year, but he picked up his play a little bit towards the end of the year. I know he had some drops and stuff, but he's got some wheels. I know there's got to be some free agents out there that can be a little bit more of a disruptor. But offensive line and tight ends, curious y'all's thought. Thank you. Tighten up and roll Tide.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. 615-737-1045.
If the draft was next weekend, no free agency, left tackle, hands down.
I'm 100% behind you on that.
Left tackle.
For a minute, I just got flirty with the idea of skill position player, like wide receiver. Best wide receiver still on the board. But I think that Will Levis has such arm talent that if you can give him a clean pocket and give him the confidence in his own head that it's going to be a clean pocket, I think he'll be the kind of quarterback that can pick people apart.
Yeah. And this league is built for that. You can't really put hands on guys, and you can create some matchups and some movement, some crossing patterns, and make guys have to sort things out and they get messed up. So if the draft was next weekend, no free agency, no movement, I'd say they're going to go best available tackle for their spot. Who would they have highest rated or in that spot? That would be what I would think. If this offseason they sign a perennial Pro Bowl left tackle that having to be released for salary cap reasons or he's unrestricted, what have you, and they see he's going to be the cornerstone for the next 3 to 5 years, then I think you start looking at best athlete available, whether it might be one of the receivers you mentioned. Is it one of the corners we hadn't even talked about? Is it an edge rusher to complement Big Jeff, especially if Danico is out of here? Do you get another guy that can get after the quarterback? I think those are kind of the other than offensive linemen, in my opinion, when you talk offensive line specifically, left tackle, other than that, those are the other 3 need positions. You need a playmaker on the edges, corner receiver. You need a playmaker rushing the quarterback, and the offensive lineman, in my opinion. And then, of course, what do they do with the running back position? That's another one that we kind of going around in a
Another
roundabout way.
mid-round pick.
Yeah, like
add him to the stable.
But somebody's got to be the starter. Somebody's got to be the primary ball carrier, meaning 15, 16, 17. I don't know if Tajay's that guy for a whole season. So what do they do? Is there somebody like you can get, like you did with Derrick Henry, late second, third round, if you couple some picks and you be able to get some multiple picks there in the middle, that could be that guy that helps. I don't know.
Running backs don't get drafted highly, so if you're looking for that guy, you could probably find him in the third or fourth round.
But look at, again, Saquon Barkley, and I keep going back to him being unrestricted this year. I think I had to double check that, fact check me on that. But say he is somebody like that.
I think he is. Yeah, because they franchise tagged him, right?
Yeah. So do you spend 2 years, like a 2-3 year deal on him, just like somebody's going to do with Derrick Henry? Do you do that with somebody like Saquon? And will people be okay with that? I think so. I think you would be okay with somebody like Saquon coming up here for the 3-year deal for $9, $10, $11, $12 million, or say 6 years, $6 million a year per. I think people would be okay with that, right? And him being the quote unquote primary guy with a guy like Tajay complimenting him.
Chig Okonkwo, showing growth.
He's still got that big playability.
Yep, from year 1 to year 2, 32 receptions to 54 this year. 450 in terms of receiving yards in his rookie year, 528 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to do things like we talked about earlier, do multiple things with him in the game.
A lot of drops, though.
A lot of drops.
You got to talk about the negative side.
Yep.
So a lot of
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's got room to grow. For sure.
Blocking assignments. He got beat a little bit on pass rushes and things like that. But potential-wise, you saw the growth in getting better. Big play, breaking tackles, a lot of speed, can stretch the defense. And he's a bargain. He's relatively cheap right now, so you can find added value in other places.
Let's go to Shane in Macon County. Shane, what's up?
Hey, guys. I had the pleasure to be at the game today and be part of the crowd that was chanting Henry, Henry, Henry.
Awesome.
I was just thinking, how this franchise has been spoiled with running back talent, from Earl Campbell to Eddie George to Chris Johnson, and now the King, the only running back that's ever rushed for more than 2,000 yards in high school, college, and the pros. And I was thinking what a class act he is, because everybody and their mother knows how bad the offensive line was this year.
Mm-hmm.
And never in any press conference or anything, he always put the blame on himself for not getting his game going. He said, I got to work harder on my game. He never put anybody under the bus, which in his case would be easy to do considering he was hit behind the line more than 50% of the time this year. So that's all I had to say, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And think about this. And again, we had the old timers. We all came back during the alumni weekend and things like that. And it was right around trade season, right before the trade deadline. And we was at that practice, and I noticed that Tajay was getting a lot more reps and did the rotation in the plays. And I was thinking, at that time, he's unrestricted. Do you go ahead and try to get more value? And because he's going to be gone, theoretically, we're thinking he's going to be gone next year. Do you try to get something out of him at this point in the game? Picks, another player, something at that point. But he never wavered. He just kept trugging along, kept working, and eventually still became a Pro Bowler, still nearly 1,200 yards, had 1,100 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns, and never complained, just did his thing, and then went out like classy, man, just thanked the fans. So, man, I had a tip for him. And this quite as kept, like you said, Earl Campbell, Eddie George, Chris, Lindell. We forget about Lindell. We forget about Lorenzo White. Like, there's been a lot of great running backs coming here and put that uniform on for the Tennessee, Houston organization.
For sure. Lorenzo White, like a lot of people don't remember how awesome that guy was.
He was good, man.
Yeah, he was. 615-737-1045. The games that are going on now, Dallas leads the Commanders 35-10 at the end of the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, 12 minutes to go, Rams trailing the 49ers, but driving with the football 20-13. 49ers up by 7. Chiefs lead the Chargers 10-9. the Chargers are one of those teams. If they could get a win, maybe that affects the Titans. If the Giants get a win, that could affect the Titans. Maybe they will pick 5, 6, or 7.
Yep.
Is where they are. Cardinals and Seahawks tied at 13 at the end of 3. Giants, as I mentioned, up 24-3 against the Eagles. Marcus Mariota in the game at quarterback for Philly. And the Raiders and Broncos, 17-7. Raiders with the lead, 31 seconds left third quarter. Packers with a win. They get in the playoffs against the Chicago Bears. Packers lead 17-9, 9:35 to go in that football game. More Titans talk back when we come back. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you. 615-737-1045. Titans Talkback, presented by Lee Company. Brent Dougherty, the Dr. Kevin Dyson, getting your reaction. Titans win 28-20. King going out in style, 153 yards on the ground. And, man, he was just gashing the Jacksonville defense. TV broadcast said more yards before contact today than any other game in his career. How about that?
Crazy,
With that
man.
offensive line today looked like completely different. It's what I joked about earlier this week, where I said King's going out on style. And my teammates, rightfully so, said, how? Like, who's blocking for him? I was like, I don't know. Maybe
against that defensive line that's having a good year.
Yeah. And maybe they're going to take a weird pill or something that makes them all of a sudden play really well. And King's going to be Superman and all this stuff. And, man, I'll be damned if they didn't.
They did. That left side played really well today.
They were blowing out holes
That
today.
left side played really well. I'm not to mention the other side because Radens and the guys played well as well. But that left side played extremely good football today.
By the way, 30th false start today for the offensive line, which is third most in the NFL.
Penalty killers, drive killers, man. But do you know what today was interesting, man? They overcame a lot of stuff like that. Overcame a turnover. I mean, like stuff that we hadn't seen all year long.
Well, it's funny because they had just put up the stat. The Titans had their first third down opportunity on their first drive, okay, on the 28-yard line, third down and 6. 28-yard line of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They put up the stat 1 for 12 on third down last week. What did they do? Screen pass to Spears, touchdown. And that just kind of set the tone, right? And they got some score separation. They ended up having to hold on at the end because of Tannehill's pick, but 2 fourth-down stops. The goal line stop was awesome.
And we forget how good. I mean, again, it was illustrated, but how good the defense had been in the red zone, not giving up touchdowns and holding teams to field goals. If a bright spots in an otherwise meek year, that was good. That was one of those bright moments that they had all year long.
More of your reaction. 28-20, Titans win the finale. They're going to pick, I think, somewhere between 5 and 7 in the NFL draft. Fred in Hartsville. Fred, what's up?
How's it going, guys? I just wanted to thank the King more than anything because he actually got my wife to watch football. She calls him her best friend. She actually named her car Derek. I'm serious, man. She didn't watch football before, and actually her and my daughter both got on TV today jumping up with both their 22 jerseys on. They were in the front or back from the front row in the south end zone when Derrick Henry scored his or when he got that run. Sorry. Was it south or north? But you know what I'm saying. They were there. They were in section 108.
Love it, man. Thank you. 615-737-1045. Thank you for I missed that last part of what he was saying because I was looking at stats. Sorry for 615. I'll tell you the truth, man. Operational error there. But I do appreciate the phone call and appreciate the fact that your wife is now a football fan because of Derrick Henry. He's probably done that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And think about all the kids that, I don't know, maybe they were like 9 years old when he was a rookie and now they're 17, you know?
Wearing that 22 jersey.
And that's their whole, childhood.
Yeah. I still play that game when I go to games. If I'm going to see an 87 throwback, I see a throwback with 87, I'm like, ooh, is that mine? Then it'll be Decker, you know.
Tyrone Calico.
Calico. But if I see mine, I'll be like, so I still repping the Dyson.
Man, I would love it. If I was wearing an 87 and came across you, I'd be taking a picture so fast.
I know. I halfway want to go and introduce myself. Hey, you know who I am?
Like Eddie. That's me.
It's me. Hey, you wearing my jersey?
Let me in. I'm right there. 615-737-1045. Chris in Lewisburg. Chris, what's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
How you doing, man?
That was a nice win to an otherwise rough season for the Titans.
Yeah.
But I think going forward, you got to give Vrabel and Carthon one more year to see if they can get this thing turned around. They had 7 one-score losses this year. Those are the kind of games they used to win. So they just didn't quite have the talent. And, going forward, talking about Derek, and I love Derek, one of the greatest Titans ever, maybe the greatest. But, I think staying with the Titans may be the best situation for Derek, And I was thinking, with the cap space, pay the man – 2 years, maybe $9-10 million guaranteed. I don't know. And, let him, as we transition to new, younger players, I think he could still be a good weapon here. And
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. I don't disagree with any of that. Here's the thing, though. I think philosophically, I think the Titans want to change what they do offensively. And I don't think you can with Derrick Henry still here. And that doesn't mean he can't play.
No.
I just think it means he doesn't fit what they want to do moving forward.
Yeah, and I don't think that diminishes what he's been able to accomplish here either.
Exactly.
I think you're right. I think it was a special run. I mean, considering that he was sharing time when he first got here for a season and a half, really, and then he pretty much took the reins and just took the bull by the horns, man. He just was that guy for that short period of time, commercials, everything. Like, he's built a brand. That's not diminishing the fact that this is still a very good football player getting caught in the midst of a business decision. It's business driven. You know, like you said, expectations are a little bit different. I think philosophy is changing a little bit, not just here, just in the NFL in general. I think there are some limitations to his game that I feel like the Titans are unable to exploit, especially with a struggling offensive line. Now, today aside, they didn't have that opportunity to exploit what he's really good at, which is wearing defenses down. Like, I don't know, what did he have? How many games this year did he have with 20 touches or more? Like four or five?
Not very many.
Not very many.
That was his third 100-yard game.
Yeah.
So, I think that's right. I'll look it up.
And considering that fact, you know, it kind of shows you the trend of where they want to go with anyway. I think a lot of teams are going to giving guys 18, 19 carries, 14, 15 carries, and the other guy having the kind of that same kind of mix. But teams are throwing 30, 40, sometimes 50 times a game now.
DeMario says you can change because you don't have to feature Henry, but Henry won't stay depending on the money for an offense where he isn't the bell cow. Listen, we've said all those things too.
Yeah.
I mean, from an ego standpoint, he has a legacy here.
Yeah.
So would you want to diminish that by coming back, taking less money? Number one, he's not going to take less money. He's going to take the most money he can get wherever that is. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And that's not going to be here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Number two, why would he want to go stand on the side? Y'all see his body language when he stands on the sidelines now?
Yeah.
I mean, why would he do that? There's no reason in my mind. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But, like, it makes no sense for me to sit here and think that he will come back to take a diminished role and take less money. There's no way that makes sense.
If this was 4 years from now, mid-30s, and you're really, truly at the end of your time, maybe, right? Because then you're like, well, I'm just going to ride this for a couple of years. Let me be the backup for a couple of years, and I'll just go.
He's not thinking that way.
No, not right now. He's still –
no.
I mean, he's a 1,100-yard rusher. He's a Pro Bowler.
He's thinking in his head, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to find a spot for me, and I'm going to go out there and get 12, 13, 1,500 more yards.
Yep.
And I'm going to do it for 2-3 more years.
Yep.
That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's business. He's going to make some more money. And it might be incentive-laden type deal, you know, similar to what D-Hop had. You know, you hit 1,100 yards, All-Pro, Pro Bowl, you get X, Y, Z money. It may be contracts like that where it could, on paper it's – a 2-year deal with averaging about 4.5 to 5 per, but there are some bonuses and things in there where that goes from a 2-year deal at 4.5, 5 per to 7, 8 per.
I think you're right on it. I think it's a 2-year deal that's really a 1-year deal where the money looks bigger than it really is. And you know, I don't know what that team is. Like, I'm just going by what Greg Cosell told us and some other people I've talked to, that he's not a featured back moving forward.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
And it's okay. That's okay. You know what I mean? It's you're not diminishing what he's already done.
No.
And listen, who am I to question the king, man? That guy, incredible.
Yes.
Who would have thought he would end up with, you know, over 1,100 yards with that offensive line this year? 1,500 yards last year with that terrible offensive line.
Like nobody.
He's incredible.
The fact that he's top 5 in rushing-ish, he's 5 or 6 right now, who would have thought that? But again, that's part of the league, right? That's kind of where it is right now. It's not a whole. That's kind of where we're at.
There are very few teams where you've got a guy that they hand it to 25 times.
Yeah.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, but even still, even with him, there's going to be a certain time because he catches the ball, runs the ball. There's going to be a certain point in time you'll be like, oh, he's going downhill because everybody's time clock comes up. Jacobs and Saquon.
Josh Jacobs, yeah.
And Saquon. That's about it, really. I'm trying to think of anybody else in the league. What's the guy in Cincinnati? He had a big game yesterday or today. Running back, Cincinnati Bengals.
Mixon,
yeah. He had a big game, didn't he?
But that's another guy that, I mean, he's not like 25 carry guy.
Yeah.
They have other guys.
Yep.
I'm trying to find, let's see, JB, I don't agree with Brent's take. Here's the beauty of our country. I always say this. I was telling somebody this yesterday. This is funny that this comes up. If we all agreed on everything, how boring of a freaking world would this be?
Make things a lot easier.
It's the beauty of having a conversation about things.
Yeah.
Disagree with me all you want to. I'm not right 100% of the time. Are you?
Mm-mm. And I wish I was. It'd save me a whole lot of heartache and pain. But what's going to be interesting is after tomorrow, exit meeting, thanking the team, wonderful offseason.
You mean Black Monday where everybody gets fired in the NFL?
Well, no, I'm talking about the team meeting Verbal's going to have with the players. We have a meeting. Yeah. Here's the offseason schedule, report back time, this or that. It's always an interesting dynamic. And I was there in year 5, how clean your locker is. Watch.
Pristine.
Pristine. If you happen to go down there, you're on the radio around that time, so you won't be able to see it. But, ask a couple people that are down there, you'll see some guys, like, pictures are taken down because they're fully expecting not to come back.
Remember Samari Rolls pictures?
Yeah.
He couldn't take pictures in front of his locker.
Because, He did.
Was it Lil' Kim?
Yeah, Lil' Kim. It was that, people remember the album cover one,
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting. Just watch. Ask some of the media likes and people like after tomorrow, after that meeting, how clean some of the lockers are. Personal effects are gone.
Yep. And listen to the Zone all day because we'll have full coverage all day long. And when we say Black Monday, I'm serious. Like assistant coaches, head coaches, the league does not wait to make moves.
No, Monday and
regular
Tuesday
season is over. Monday and Tuesday. Sometimes on Tuesday.
Yep.
So there's been smoke out there too. Schefter providing some smoke a little bit with regard to Vrabel, whether or not he'll be back. So
again, I get it. I totally understand that conversation, especially the last 24 games. I think you said. With that in mind, right?
6-18 in the last 24. And if you are the one in control and you're 6-18, that's where I would be like if they do move on from him, that's where I'm immediately going to go back to.
But
there.
And I guess my devil's advocate side of me is saying that last year, the reason he's still around is because he didn't have control. Because JR was making decisions. JR pulled the trigger on trading his number one primary offensive weapon, his other than King Henry. He's the one that traded him away. And so that, to me, is the pass that he gets and the struggles of that offensive line and things of that nature, right?
We agree on this.
Yeah.
So, I would give him one more offseason with Rand Carthon and see what those two do together.
Yes.
And then, you're under it next year.
And I think he understands that. I think based on the conversation, the questions that he's gotten the last couple of weeks from the media and the frustration he has been explicit about. He just had to blow up the other day. He's been explicit about his frustration with the questioning and people. Man, of course I want to win games. That's why we're in this business, et cetera, et cetera. He's competitive. He's very knowledgeable of the game and things of that nature. So that aside, the business aspect of it is, and we know what business we're in, entertainment is what have you done for me lately? And his sample size
right,
past two. Yeah, I got you started on that. I started with R. Kelly.
Hey, you got to be starting.
I don't know why I started with R. Kelly. I should never mention his name on radio.
That's why I'm moving on. But you want to be starting something?
Want to be starting something? But I tell you what, with him, I get why fans are like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. If we're getting ready to Derrick Henry, Tannehill's gone, new GM, get a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defense coordinator, new everything, and then start this thing over. I get that. But that's not that doesn't always translate into something successful the very next year. Now you're going to be
it would be interesting.
It would be interesting. But the trend typically is it takes a couple years to build. Now, I say that, and then I go, okay, the Eagles, year one, oh, well, that worked out for them. Oh, the Rams, year one, oh, that worked out for them. Oh, Green Bay, year one, oh, shoot. You know what I mean? So I go to those instances where it has worked out of recent when they just got a guy in that year one, they had a fantastic season.
Yep. All right, 30 more minutes, more room for you to work yourself in, and we will get more reaction. Titans win 28-20. Their season is over. The Jag season is beautifully over as well.
They should be landed by now.
Yeah.
Maybe they're packing up their lockers.
Yeah. You think the significant others have already got the plans made for?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're out.
Yeah.
We ain't spending a couple days here. We're gone.
Gone. Right back to wherever city they live in. Most of them probably don't even live in Jacksonville. Half of them probably live in Tennessee.
All right, more Titans Talk Back next. Three at Jealous tomorrow. Not right now. That's twice today. Titans Talk Back more next on 104.5 The Zone. Lee Company, Titans Talkback, Brent Dougherty, Kevin Dyson with you until 6:30. Walking you up until the Westwood One coverage of Sunday Night Football. Buffalo at Miami. Bills favored by 3 in that game. Winner wins the AFC East, and we'll get the number 2 seed in the AFC. All 7 teams are in. So Pittsburgh's in after all that. What a run.
And, Tomlin.
Incredible.
And his name is up. Oh, they're going to fire Tomlin. 3 quarterbacks, another winning season, another playoff berth. And again, I get it. Like, everybody expects everybody to win the championship every year. But the pillar of consistency is nothing but the Steelers organization and Mike Tomlin. Every year. With the adversity that he has almost every year, too.
You talk to people in the league, and, I mean, anyone you ask in the league will tell you that he's one of the best coaches in the league.
Mm-hmm. And his name was on the chopping block?
Well, people want wins, man.
He got them. He still had a winning season. Now, he didn't win 13 like Baltimore. 13, right? 13 or 14. 13 games like Baltimore, but still, he's in the playoffs. He's in the tournament. That's the ultimate goal, get to the tournament.
Ron Rivera is another one of those guys that, like, coaches will tell you he's one of the better coaches, and he's about to get fired.
Yep.
You got to win. Got to
win. Now, he's not winning like Tomlin in comparison, right? He's a good guy, good coach, but he's not, translating the wins like Mike
Riverboat
Tomlin.
Ron, they call him. So the Giants and the Chargers, the Giants are winning. The Chargers are inside the 5-yard line, 1 point down against the Chiefs. And there's about 3.5 minutes to go in that football game. So the Titans have 6 wins. The Chargers and Giants both have 5. And the strength of schedule is really close. And the Chargers are playing the Chiefs, so their strength of schedule will go up. Tennessee would jump the Chargers if the Chargers win. Tennessee currently 7th in the NFL draft.
So they would move up to 6.
To 6 if the Chargers win. And my guess is, because the Giants are playing the Eagles, that Tennessee would jump the Giants. I don't know that for a fact because you really can't tell. But that means that they would pick 5. So as Smiley said during the break, if you can win against Jacksonville, knock them out of the playoffs, and still pick 5th in the NFL draft, what a damn day. He didn't say damn, I did.
That's a win-win.
Yeah. So we'll keep you updated there. Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical problems. They can protect your home, too. Your next play, visit LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. We've talked about this game and the end of the season and the entirety of the season and moving on into the offseason and moving on to next season all day long. If you want in, 615-737-1045. Steve is in Houston, Texas. Steve, what's going on in H-Town? Yo, Steve.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to put Steve on hold, Smiley, because he's been holding for a while. Uber King next up in Nashville. Uber King, what up, man?
What up, man?
How the ride's going today, man?
Well, it's been fairly better. You know, it's been a long time since we won a game, and ain't nobody been crying in my car.
Well, that's
and I got a couple tips.
Yeah.
I got a couple tips.
Yeah.
But I know y'all talking. I'm just telling y'all right now, if y'all talking about that $90 million cap space room or whatever, me trusting the Titans with $90 million in cap space, and like saying, looking at my bank account after Uber winning, Ubering all weekend long and saying, man, I made $500,000. It ain't happening, bro.
Yeah, but it's looking at your bank account and going, hey, man, I got the second most in my bank account than anybody else out there.
I don't trust the Titans with all that money because they're going to I'm sorry, what we're going to do? I know where Derrick Henry going to go. We already know. We ain't got to think about this to the Eagles. Let's go.
I don't know. They got a good back of the Eagles. They got Swift.
Might be a good compliment.
We just got to give them something. But yeah, man, it's been a hard season. That's all I got to say. Y'all did a great job. I love y'all on the radio, but sometimes I be thinking y'all don't give us enough time to talk. I don't think y'all like hearing us talk, but I'm messing with you. That's just a joke.
It just depends on who it is.
You talk in your car all day long, I guarantee you.
Believe me, I believe you. I'm saying this to my ride a while ago. I was like, man, they ain't gonna never let me on the phone. But I want to tell you guys, it's been a great season, man. I just hope the Tennessee Titans start winning again, so we can get better food in the press box. I'm tired of eating them nasty hot dogs, and I want a ticket that's not made of paper. Let's not print it on the inkjet. That's what I want to think of the card stock again. Maybe I could get a magazine at the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These little things mean a lot to me. But on there next year, man, I really want Derek to stay. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I want him to stay.
If you pick him up, tell him.
Believe me, I probably, I'm going to try to find him.
I love it, Uber King. You're just out there, man. I love it. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
There he is. 615-737-1045.
That's wishful hoping. I think King Henry will let you know what's going on.
Chargers just took the lead on the Chiefs, 12-10. 615-737-1045. Fred is in Huntsville. Fred, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. Appreciate your perspective every week. It was a great game today. We were there just getting home. The question I had for you is, it seemed like all season long, they put Henry in, hand him the ball, run the ball, take him out. And then the play or two later, put him in, run the ball, take him out. And it just seems to me that, that affects the whole offense and the effectiveness of the team, because they kind of read what's coming, because every time they put him in, they give him the ball. When they take him out, they pass the ball. And today they left him in the whole game, and it just seemed like the whole team played better, with that being the case. So I just wondered what your comments were on that.
Yeah,
I appreciate y'all what you do.
Thank you, Fred. I think moving forward, I think they love Tyjae Spears and what he brings, and I think that he brings a multiplicity of things that you can do schematically on offense that you can't do with King in there.
Yeah.
And that's not a slight to King. I'm just saying that's true.
Yeah, and I think you've been saying it pretty much the length of the show. It's just, the nature of what we're at like now. I think they have a different philosophy of where they're trying to get to, and he doesn't necessarily fit in that mold. You've been kind of illustrating that for the last several weeks. I think that is this has been an illustration of it. And the caller's point of, it just seems like, they put him in there, you do this, and then they pull him out, and you put him in, they do this, and they pull him out. And I think that is kind of an indication of change to come. Another indication is, we didn't necessarily get this, but he's only had 3, maybe 4 games where he had 20 carries or more this year. That's another telltale sign that he's not getting the ball nearly as much as he used to, where that was the staple. He was getting 20, 21, 22 carries a game. And that seems to be when they were the most effective in winning football games, aside from big plays like he had today. So, it is what it is. I think it's fun to reminisce, have these conversations, and in a few years we'll continue to talk about, you remember that time when, and we'll talk about 22 like we did with 27 and 28 and 34 and all the other greats that have come through here.
And he'll come back into town and be a hero.
And
all those things.
They'll chant his name like they do Eddie. His name will go up in the Ring of Honor with Eddie and Earl and all the things, and deservedly so. And but his time in Nashville as far as a player is over. Now, he'll probably live here like most, or he might move back to Florida, who knows. But his time as a player is probably over.
You know how many times he had 20 or more carries this year?
How many?
4.
All right, that's it. 4 times. And that's saying something. That's probably a season low for him, other than the first 2 years when he was the backup.
Yep, and this was his 4th 100-yard game. I was wrong on that. I thought it was 3. It is 4 100-yard games, and it was the most rushing yardage he has had in a game all season. 615-737-1045. Jacob in Nashville. Jacob, what's up?
What's up, guys? I just wanted to talk about how Derrick Henry played today, and if he's going to be a future Hall of Famer for the Tennessee Titans.
Hey, thanks, Jacob. How did you think he played today?
I think he played awesome. I was at the game.
Did you have fun today?
Yeah, I had really fun.
Oh, okay, good. All right, thanks, Jacob. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, King was awesome. If he's going out and that was it in a Titans uniform, that's the way to go.
That's the way to do it.
153 and a touchdown.
That's how you want to go out. Go back on top.
Most yards in a game this season for Derrick Henry. Longest rush of the season for him. 8.1 yards per carry ties his season high in a game. Against Baltimore, 12 carries, 97 yards, 8.1 yards per carry. So if that was it for the King, salute.
I hate it for everybody because we get caught up in this business, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse
And
me.
just because, like, we're sitting here talking about the business aspect of things and what it looks like they will do, doesn't mean that we didn't enjoy his career like y'all did and didn't feel blessed to have been here to sit here and watch that guy ride, you know?
Yeah. And that's, I think that's how even the players, it's sentimental to the players too, right? This is the franchise that raised you. This is the city that embraced you. And you want to start where you finished. But I think there's always that dark side of business where you know that's not necessarily the reality. I mean, you mentioned a lot of different names earlier in the show: Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Emmitt Smith. Like
everybody goes to a different team.
J.J. Watt. Like that's more recent. Like guys that you felt deserved to start in where they started, and it's just not the nature of it because guys are playing longer. As far as those type of guys that can play into the 30s and because of taking care of themselves, take care of their bodies, and find an opportunity to play, man. It is what it is. It's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast, man.
Brent Dougherty, Dr. Kevin Dyson, we've got one more segment for you, and we'll get Kenny and Greg, and we'll go back down to Steve and get all y'all in. We'll talk about how this season wraps itself up with that 28-20 win today for the Tennessee Titans. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online at leecompany.com. Lee Company Titans Talkback. Lee Company, all you need. Visit them online, leecompany.com. We look ahead to the offseason. The look ahead presented by Eurofix. Let me remind you that Eurofix repairs everything European that you drive and below dealer pricing. ASE certified technicians, a local company that has serviced Middle Tennessee for more than 2 decades. Visit EurofixOnline.com. The offseason is upon us. Titans, as we mentioned, second most money under the cap in the NFL right now. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. Tomorrow is Black Monday. Spending
They
spree.
can go shopping.
And maybe some big-name wide receivers. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's a T. Higgins out there. Maybe bring in Jawan Jennings to fill out the roster a little bit. That guy's a dog.
Yeah, you still got a couple guys on this roster. Moore, I think, can add value. He does multiple things.
Unrestricted free agent, so maybe you work through those guys too.
Give him a 2-year deal.
It will be interesting to see tomorrow in terms of staff changes and if some of the smoke is right about Vrabel. So we'll be here as a radio station all day long, 104.5 The Zone, so make sure you listen. I keep saying this is going to be one of the most fascinating off seasons in Titans history. By the way, tomorrow is 24 years ago tomorrow. The Music City Miracle. Is that right?
Yeah, 24. Golly. Where did the time go?
Make you feel old?
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
Oh, man.
24 years.
24 years.
Well, they better do something for 25, man.
Well, they didn't do anything for 20, and we still had my buddy with us at that time. So we'll see. I would, hopefully – in 25, they do something. Just recognize, if nothing else, not for me, for Frank. It would be nice to kind of recognize him.
I'm glad you said that. So all y'all tomorrow, that if you believe in your higher power, lift him up tomorrow.
Yeah, man, it's not about me. So
I know you always say all I did was catch the ball and run.
That's it. I had the easiest job in the world, bro.
Who was I telling the other day? Oh, I was telling Zach Pillar the other day. So Zach took me over to the new Neighbors location that's about to open in the Gulch, like 500 yards from here. Right across the bridge. It is phenomenal. Like, it is absolutely phenomenal.
Top notch.
Oh, my gosh. Right on the corner by STK in the Gulch.
Yeah.
Across the street from Sambuca. But they've got the garage door patio space where they raise those things, and they got TVs. I mean, it's incredible. But
check him out.
But I was telling Zach, he's got a picture of you running down the sideline. And it's funny because, like, I always look at, like, the other things that are in the picture of the big moments. But, like, Samari Roll and Dana and Sydney are sitting on the bench. Just kind of watching. I don't think they thought like anything was happening.
No, not at all.
And then I've told you this before because like I still when I watch the replay of the Music City Miracle, I get upset with Greg Favors. I'm like, my man's getting too close to Dyson. Like I don't need him tripping over Greg Favors' feet. In the picture, Greg Favors is right next to you.
I think he would have been drop kicked out of that stadium. He tripped me.
I love Favors. He was from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
C-ball, hit ball guy.
Yeah, you talking about value. He was a guy that played all special teams, good depth and linebacker.
Anything else.
Yeah. Good football player.
Yep. So that's our look ahead presented by Eurofix. Appreciate them and all of the sponsors for Titans Talkback all season long. It's been a fun one. Let's wrap with phone calls. More of your reaction. Titans win 28-20. Greg is in Smyrna. Greg, what's up?
Hey, a few things. You guys were talking about consistent 100-yard runners.
Yep.
You guys forgot my JT with the Colts for one. I know he's a rival, but Jonathan Taylor's phenomenal.
Yeah, he had a big run yesterday too.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And they've got I think they're building the right way and through the draft. And I hope the Titans, this new GM they've got, he's done a great job already. I hope they continue to do the same thing and don't just go through free agency and buy all these guys. I think building through the draft is so smart. But Dyson, I wanted to tell you, dude, I watched your career at Utah, of course, coming to the Titans, but dude, you were amazing. Of course, was a Colts fan, so, Peyton was there and all those guys. But I watched your career, and I even bought your jersey, your 87 jersey. I believe it was 87, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Still got it on my phone. But loved you to death. You were awesome. And last thing, Brett, you got one of the best voices of radio, if not the best. I listen to you every day, dude. You rock.
Oh, thanks,
you
man.
You and your team, man, are just awesome. So anyway, I'm on a trip. I'm a sales manager, and so I'm traveling across to Alabama from Nashville. So I just love listening to you, bud. You're
Hey,
awesome.
man. Always be closing, bro.
Yeah,
ABC.
Man, I appreciate the flowers too, bro.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Greg.
You were amazing. You guys were both amazing. Have a great night, dude.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. 615-737-1045.
Yeah, I
What
appreciate
did we do to deserve all that?
I don't know, man. That's one of the things we talked about on your show, man. Sometimes you just, if you feel it, give people their flowers sometimes because you never know when tomorrow's going to be your last.
It's funny. We've had that conversation off air before. Like, just randomly text people and let them know you love them.
That's it, man. And so if somebody give me the flowers, man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Absolutely. 615-737-1045. Kenny, next up on Titans Talkback. Kenny, what up?
What's up, guys? We're on the I-65 North.
Yo, what up?
We are in Kentucky after a big win. Great way to end the season, ruin the postseason for a divisional opponent.
Yes.
Let's talk about next year. After offensive line, secondary seems like the next priority. What's out there second round or in the free agency? Who's out there that can make a difference? I'll hang up and listen.
Love it, brother. Free agency is going to tell you a lot about draft direction, too, you know?
That's what I said. Between now and March, or you can go out to April to the draft, it's going to tell you a telltale sign where they're going to plan to spend that money. That's a lot of money to spend.
Isn't it cool now that the season's over that, like, the team that we cover, and if you're listening, the team that you like most in a lot of cases for y'all has this much money under the cap where they can basically transform this roster.
They can make some moves.
And change the way they play football based on who they bring in here.
Yeah. That's that.
You know?
And again, the sexy pick is not offensive line, right? You want an impactful guy, game changer type player to come in, but sometimes you got to go by need.
Yep.
Not sometimes, all the time, but specifically offensive line and depth and quality depth. And no disrespect to the guys in there before, but they struggled this year, and it didn't seem to translate into productivity. Today was a good football game for the offensive line, and some of those guys they're getting highly evaluated right now. Are some of those guys going to be around for 24, 25?
QB1 got him luggage for the season.
He letting them know. Some of y'all going to be by, help you pack your bags for you now.
How funny is that? Oh, man, I think that's one of the funniest stories. But, yeah, no, I mean, you're right about free agency. And then, you know, tomorrow even, it's like, okay, is Tim Kelly going to still be here?
Yeah.
They've got 3 offensive line coaches. Boy, Babs was hot when she found out about that. We were sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings getting ready for the show, and she just pulled up the coaching roster, and she's like, wait, they have 3 offensive line coaches?
3 coaches?
What are we doing? I mean, she went nuts. Yeah, they have an offensive line coach and then 2 assistants.
I did not know that. Because I was talking about bringing in somebody like, you know, Munchak or something to help them
Wouldn't that be something?
But they already got 3.
Well.
I'm just saying.
Currently.
Golly.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Black Monday coming up. Steve in Houston. Steve, you there, man?
Hey, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I just want to tell you, everybody in Houston today was cheering for you guys, and we want to thank you for knocking off those Jaguars. It really was fun to actually cheer for Derrick Henry today rather than dread seeing him come onto the field. That guy has flashed us so many times. So we're not going to miss seeing him in a Titans uniform. But seriously, we really wanted to just tell you, I grew up in Kerrville, Texas, and that was where the Houston Oilers had their summer training camp for many, many years. And so I've got a soft spot in my heart for that organization. I'm a Texans fan for sure, but hey, man, don't be cheering for those Cleveland Browns. What's up with that? No? We were cheering for you today. And, I mean, it's bad enough I got to sit here and listen to you guys talk about Earl Campbell like he was yours, you know. He was ours before.
To be fair, in the early 80s, I was a kid, like 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I grew up in Houston. So I was an
good for you, man.
So I was an Oilers fan, too.
Before they even came here.
And then moved here in 1984, and then they eventually came here. So, yeah.
You know what the Love You Blue was like.
I was right there.
Anyway, we're excited We're excited for the Texans fans. It's always a good rivalry with you guys, though, and so I just wanted to call and tell you all that. Everybody here was cheering for you today.
Love it.
We're happy down here.
Thank you, Steve.
Man, thank you, sir.
Conversely, no Titans fan will be cheering for the Houston Texans.
Not in the least.
Not close.
And neither Baltimore either.
That was true. I like what you picked. I like the. Hey, go Browns. Why not?
I just want to see somebody new get in there. You know,
a
Browns
fan base that
Lions.
hasn't experienced it.
Yeah, That's it. Browns-Lions would be a great Super Bowl.
Titans radio coverage produced by Philip Noel and Brad Willis. Studio producer is Joe Hunkapiller. Today, Smiley for us. Scoreboard producer Lucas Panzica. Promotions director Rich Ferris. Director of sales Hunter Rice. General manager Allison Warren. Operation managers Charlie Cook and Paul Mason. Executive producer is Rhett Bryan. Buffalo and Miami coming up. Westwood One coverage has you through it. Dice, it's been a fun year, man.
This bracket, I'm
go Browns.
Go Browns, man. And, hey,
right,
we'll see if we get to come back and do it again next year.
Listen to Zone all day long tomorrow. Good night. God bless.